Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Back to school joy. Administrators at a number of primary schools in the capital city beamed with joy Monday as their students returned for face-to-face learning that was disrupted by the novel coronavirus pandemic. The administrators said that they, along with auxiliary and other staff, used the Christmas holidays to ensure that the schools were safe for students, even as a few parents were still not comfortable sending the children out at this time. In those cases, the school said they made provisions for students who are still at home. The government had indicated that all primary and high schools would begin reporting on January 3, 2022. To get approval for the resumption of face-to-face classes, schools had to receive a health inspection and COVID-19 compliant report from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. They were also required to submit copies to their regional offices. At Clancarty Primary, acting principal Winsome Reed said it was so important to have her students return to school that she loosened the dress code for some of them whose parents cannot afford the uniforms at this time. "We are extremely elated," Reed said. "We understand the health risk, but the mere fact we are able to come out and see the children this morning in devotion is awesome. From last week, we have been saying to the parents to let them come out even if they don't have uniforms. We said to them, even if you don't have the physical education top, we don't want anyone to stop them from coming out because we recognize the learning gap. I told them to still send them. Quite a number of students came out. We had a lovely devotion and I am just excited." To ensure that students observe physical distancing requirements, Reed said they split one class in two and put markings on the school ground to remind the students about the protocols. She also implemented a staggering attendance schedule for each grade. Christopher Wright, principal of Holy Family Primary School, reported no challenges. He said he was so anxious to resume face-to-face classes that he arrived at school early. "We haven't had any challenges so far, and we're hoping that things will get better and better as the students will be able to access the education that we want them to have. I have been excited since last week. This morning, I was here from as early as 6:20 a.m. to ensure that we received the students. When I came here, there were 3 young ladies standing here, and they were really happy to see me," he said. "I saw some children greeting the teachers, some who we wouldn't have seen for almost 2 years. They were so excited. As a result, we are really upbeat. The teachers are looking forward to a good term, and we just hope that things will remain as is, at the very least, or get better. Our current model now is Monday to Thursday face-to-face classes, and the entire school will go online on Friday," he said. At St. Aloysius Primary School, Vice Principal Merlin Campbell was elated with the resumption of face-to-face classes, got off to a problem-free start. "We don't have any challenges right now apart from financial challenges. What happened was that in December, we had to test run, and we did the end-of-term test in the same manner. They were here for 3 weeks doing the end-of-term test," she said. Just under 165 students of Almontown Primary, which has a population of over 600, attended school on Monday. Principal Latoya Nesbitt reported that despite the low turnout, she was still elated that school is in session. Her only issue was that parents did not follow the designated time for students to come to school. "Even though the parents were given staggered times, we had hiccups because we had to sort out overlapping at the gate. It was just the first day, teething pain. When I did my walkthrough, the students were happy to be back," Nesbitt said. "What I find is that the turnout is low. We are expecting at least 300 students, which is about half of our population of 605. I believe there was some amount of hesitancy. So even though we met with the parents, they are still watching to see what is happening," she added. Uniform crisis keeps several students at home. Having been out of school for almost 2 years, last week late notification that face-to-face lessons would have resumed on Monday resulted in several students in Portland missing the first day of the Easter term, as dressmakers were not able to stitch uniforms in time for them to report for classes. Windsor Primary School Principal Natalie Burke reported that many families were not prepared to have their children return to the classroom, a fact borne out in yesterday's attendance rate of roughly 50%. During the height of the pandemic, when we were only able to accommodate a limited number of students, they were allowed to wear clothes to their choice. But now, the face-to-face classes have resumed. Students are expected to dress in their uniforms, Burke explained. So, we have a situation where the complaint or explanation is that the dressmaker was unable to complete uniforms on time, adding that she is expecting that full complement to turn out by the end of the week. We have been following the directives issued by the Ministry of Education, so we were prepared and raring to go for the minute it was announced that face-to-face classes would resume. We have our sanitizing equipment in place and we're observing the basic protocol set by the Ministry of Health, Burke said, noting that the students, parents, and teachers were excited to go back into the physical space. Portmire Primary School in neighboring St. Mary also reopened its door on Monday, while Cameron Hall High in the parish is aiming to knock it off return to face-to-face classes next Monday. The Titchfield and Port Antonio High Schools in St. Thomas are also set to reopen their doors on Monday, January 10, although classes have started online. Back to school train not on track. Even as many schools delayed resumption of face-to-face classes, the Jamaica Railway Corporation's RJC, much triumphant train service for St. Catherine students, did not begin rolling on the first Monday of the year as planned. The Transport Ministry officially launched the Back on Track school train service on December 14, saying the cashless service would benefit some of the most vulnerable children, particularly those on the program of Advanced Through Health and Education path. On Monday, when reporters visited the Spanish Town terminal, where trains were to arrive at 6:55 and 7 a.m., there was no sign of activity. I said in Parliament that we are going to reintroduce passenger trains because if we can use the lines for cargo, we can use it for people, and today I am seeing the reality of that, and I am proud, Transport and Mining Minister Robert Montague had said at the December launch. He also reminded the gathering that when he first assumed responsibility for the portfolio in 2018, he had said that the JRC is a gem that needs to be polished. On Monday, several calls to Montague's phone went unanswered, but a spokesperson from the ministry, Nayoka Linton, explained that there had been some delays and the launch was put back to Wednesday. She said there was to be a final meeting before then to see if any challenges had been resolved. She declined a request for details on the challenges being faced. The Back on Track initiative is a collaboration between the Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC and JRC and the Transport and Education Ministries. It is expected to transport 400 students from Old Harbour and Linstead to Spanish Town, where they will then continue their journey on JUTC buses. At the launch last year, Education Minister Favour Williams welcomed the service, which she said would ease the high transportation costs facing students outside of Kingston and St. Andrew. The schools whose students will benefit from the service when it finally gets rolling include Jonathan Grant High School, St. Jago High, Jose Marte High School, and St. Catherine High. All know I don't cry. 71-year-old Sylvina Burke and 4 other relatives in this rural community of Longwood District, Clarendon, are homeless after New Year's fire swept through their 2-bedroom house. The family is short on food. An envelope with money that was saved for the fire later went missing, and they have no idea what will come next. But Burke remains unbroken. Her faith in God keeps her going. My faith in God, I give me courage right now, cause I'll know I don't cry, and I don't think I will because I know God is God, she told reporters. He provides for the birds, so he will provide for me. I'm just trying to hold the faith when I remember all the food we had for Christmas to take us into the new year gone. But me nah make that get me down, added the family matriarch. They have been staying next door, a house temporarily available as her husband's relatives who live there are on vacation. They will be back soon, and Burke and her relatives will need somewhere else to stay and to lay their head at night. She hopes it will be in the community she has called home for half a century. We lost 2 bedrooms, hall, veranda, living and dining room, the kitchen, bathroom, and washroom, including furniture and appliances. Right now, we need a place to live because I have lived here over 50 years, she said. And even as she pondered their next move, she paused to give thanks that though her husband was a little shaken up, no one was seriously hurt during the blaze. The couple shared the house with their daughter and 2 grandchildren. They were all at home when the fire started about 9:30 p.m. My daughter was in the living room talking to somebody. Amir, she said, the house a catch a fire. By me get up and look, the place engulfed. We never saved nothing other than a suitcase, and in the wardrobe, me did have the particulars like the passport and birth certificate, and me just fling them out with an envelope with some money. That's all me could save, nothing else, recounted Burke. After me see the fire, I tried to open the door to try to help and get out. But when I see the fire, I said I can't do this and just turned back into the house. That's when I pushed out the few stuff and fling out the envelope with some money that was in the wardrobe. I realized the fire was more than me and I couldn't do anything else. I had to leave, so I'm just giving God thanks for life because I'm here, she said. Burke is heartbroken at the loss of the empty envelope with the money. Sometimes things happen and I cry because I work hard. I work hard for us to reach here, very hard, but in a time like this, where 2021 was so rough, many think it will get better going into 2022 because at the end of the time now, people have to look up to God. No better no day. It's going to get worse, she said, temporarily giving in to the sorrow. But soon, she was back to her strong faith in God as earlier in the interview. I know God is God and I'm here still fighting the battle. May I keep the faith, she said. The cause of the fire is yet to be determined as both cylinders that were in the kitchen have been accounted for. A unit from the Clarendon Fire Department conducted cooling down operations. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.